Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, and this is my Ultimate Ninja Difficulty Gaiden walkthrough. We're currently on day 2 of 8. It is the Desert Chapter. So, on this section here, the best way to get a double S is to shoot the rider. And if you can get a headshot on the rider, the bike will crash, and that will take it down as fast as possible. You've got to be pretty darn accurate, though, on those to get the double S's. And I wanted to remind you that this is from the start, it's a non-upgraded run, meaning to say that from the beginning of the walkthrough, I inherited no karma. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And we do have the meditation move, and I will be showing a couple of great uses for it early in this video. The first one, I believe, is going to occur near the end of the fight over here, because what you can do if you are interested in getting the most karma, meaning that you want to get the double S's for these fights, is to make sure that obviously you do the fight in the requisite time required. The time just varies from fight to fight. I don't know. It's probably on the internet somewhere. It has all the times. Maybe it doesn't because it's so obsolete, or rather, just obscure. It's an old game, so I'm not sure about that. But at the end of the fight, I don't have as much health as I would need to get the S rank. So before I kill a last enemy, and this happens a couple of times on these fights, I will siphon my key into my health bar to max out my health, ensuring that I have 100% health, and that will guarantee that I get the S rank for health. And then all it is a matter of meeting the time requirement. And that's one way to use the meditation to your advantage for rank. Just remember, though, that on these fights, you're going to have periodically stationary archers. Once the guy on the scaffolding up there falls down, the fight, I believe you can leave the fight if you want to. So the fight is almost over, but notice my health. I have critical damage. You can't see it, but I don't have full health. So I'm just going to make sure before I kill this last guy that I sever his arm so that he can't come at me fast. And then I siphon all my ki into my health, maximizing my health, getting me the double S's on that. But using the meditation, it's almost impossible to use the meditation to give yourself health when there's enemies running at you and trying to hit you. So the best thing to do is to, if there's just a couple of enemies left, is to sever their limbs so that you can ensure that you have time enough to actually do the move, because it takes a long time and you're vulnerable the whole time. Another great thing you can do with the meditation is you can use it to instigate the enemies. Did you see what I did there? I did the meditation even though I wasn't trying to get myself health, but it incites the enemies most of the time to do a grab on you. And once you know that they're going to do the grab, you can instantly move out of the way and press Y. And it's a good way to incite them to do the grab on you. So, rather than just waiting around for an enemy to grab you, and waste potential time, you can speed up the process by forcing their hand. Now on this, there's an ambush up here. There's a pirate around the corner. Fall back, shoot the archer, fall back, like I said, and then take out the pirate. And it's a good idea to do the fight and then save it, because then you can max out your health here. Definitely try to wait to save it. And then over here we have some of these pink fiends down here. Now you can cross the gap if you want and fight 2 pirates, then come back down here and fight these guys, but I like to fight them first. This is one of the more easy, and I say easy, but they do have a lot of guard breaking and guard crushing moves and grabs that they do. But anytime you see these enemies, kind of count yourself lucky, because they're quite predictable to parry. They do melee slashes that you can counter. The melee slashes being their grabs. Not all their melee is grabs, but some of their melee attacks are grabs. But the one you want to look out for is when they go underground and then they come up. There's a good chance that they'll do a grab that you can parry. And down here, it's not very difficult to get the double S's, because if you're using the scythe, you've got great reach, and if you're doing the steel on bones, you're doing it very quickly. You're getting health back, things like that. And then up here on these pirates, the second I land, I go into meditation, and this should bait them into doing a grab. But the first one locked me into that chain breaking move, so I wasn't able to include this one in the chain, but he flashed red anyway. So this next fight up here, I find to be kind of challenging to get the S rank. And don't worry, after this fight, I'm not going to be harping on the S ranks too much, because I'm not going to be going for them. But I just wanted to, go over them with you as we try to, give you some basic tactics about how to get the most karma early on. So at set intervals, you're going to have archers with rocket launchers, and it's just the standard throwaway enemies plus pirates. And then midway through the battle, there's some riders, and then there's more of these guys near the end of the fight. And if you're getting grabbed on this and you are going for rank, just allow yourself to get killed and then start over. Unless you want to use the Nimpo, try to give yourself more health. But I find that the Nimpo, it just doesn't give you enough health back, despite how many guys you kill. It's just... Oh, also there's ground-based archers too at set intervals. So after you kill a certain number of enemies, just take a look around, because there's bound to be guys on scaffolding shooting at you and guys on the ground. And then if you want to, you can save a scythe UT for the riders, because a scythe UT will kill them if it connects, and it's a good one to use to try to connect on a rider, because it has such good splash damage to it. But just in a moment we have the riders, so use the same tactic here to shoot the actual one driving. And again, it isn't the easiest thing to to shoot them in the head. It's quite difficult. I was actually taking kind of a long time over here, and I thought that, even though my health was pretty good, I thought I would still fail on the time, but it turned out that I was able to be successful in both aspects. So I do believe it's going to come to pass that, I'm doing pretty well with my health, and I'm not going to need to siphon too much of my ki into my health bar to ensure that I have enough health. But with the health requirement for the S rank, you really do need to be, like, if you're not at 90, I was going to say 98%, but I think even 98% is not good enough for it most of the time. You got to be like 99 to 100% full of health. Okay, now that the riders are gone, you can prepare a charge if you want to, because you've got more pirates and fodder enemies to kill. So, just going for your eviscerations, your counters, and hopefully you can get some of these fodder enemies in your chains. And I think we're more or less at full health. But if you are ever unsure, press select, go into your upgrades menu, and it will show you any critical damage or permanent damage that you're missed out of. And when that scaffolding goes away, you can actually leave the fight too if you want to. So I took a little risk over here. I killed the last one. I was going to siphon some health into my my bar, but I think I am at 100% health. And then as you leave, don't forget this scarab here. And then the next fight is not ranked. It's a pretty shitty fight. Then the fight after that with the White Alchemist, I'm gonna get a pretty poor score. I haven't even done it yet. I'm doing this commentary early, but it's a fight that I hate, and I don't care for getting the score on. And I'm gonna equip the Lunar over here. I might switch when I get down here. I might switch to my dragons. Well, it's called the Jinran Maru at this point. But I'll probably switch to, yeah, I've switched to it so I can get Flying Swallows on the 2 rocket launcher guys at the end of the hall. This is a pretty thankless fight as well. It doesn't rival the thanklessness of the next fight, though, against these alchemists that are coming up. And there's quite a lot of these alchemists, and I'm going to be just spamming UTs on these guys. And some people are quick to point out that just because an enemy comes in, like triplicate or whatever, that it's well designed. That I don't always subscribe to that line of thinking. In the end, it does come down to one's opinion and one's enjoyment of the enemy itself. I just don't enjoy the enemy. I don't enjoy most of the enemies in this game. I don't think there's... It might even be safe to say that I don't enjoy any of the enemies in this game. And the reason that I'm doing this walkthrough is because you might remember that I had guides for Razor's Edge, but I think they were only the Wii U version of Razor's Edge, and that was like those are 13-year-old guides. And I did guides for Hard, Master Ninja, and Ultimate Ninja, but things changed a lot between the Wii version and the versions that later came out on the 360 and the PS3 versions. And then, of course, that was before the Master Collection came out. We're talking about like many years later, the Master Ninja Collection came out. I think it was in 2021, so it's been several years now since that version came out. One of the main differences is that aside from an abysmal frame rate on the Wii U, is that once they re-released the games on the PS3 and the 360, they allowed you to start upgrading anytime you wanted to, because for somebody decided on the Wii U version that when you're in combat, you couldn't do any upgrades. So you could not press, whatever the equivalent was for the select button. Whenever you're fighting, you could not make any upgrades. You cannot buy health upgrades. And it made the game really difficult. And it was always kind of baffling to me why they decided to not let you upgrade in combat. But once they did, the game opened up and it became a lot more enjoyable. Because I remember being on the final boss on Ultimate Ninja and not being able to access my healing items, my health upgrades. So I had to do that fight without any assistance from health upgrades. And I just have no idea. They just didn't let you. Occasionally there was some kind of glitch that sometimes you could access it, but it was only a glitch. And I would keep the Cylon coming up over here. And to spawn this next fight, you can either run into the room and grab the SCARAB, or you can you can just approach the jukebox. But if you go up to the SCARAB, what's going to happen is, it's the better way to access it, is that ninjas will jump over the counter trying to grab you, and it always works out so that when you grab the SCARAB, you can dash away and parry, or simply just parry. Though if you die, though, they start you further away from the room, and the fight's already started. It's already saved the fact that you grab the scarab. So what always happens to me personally over here is I like to have the advantage on this fight. So if I ever die over here, I reload the game and resume from the save falcon, which can be pretty heartbreaking to have to keep doing that because it's time consuming. But they do give you a good checkpoint in this room. It's just that if you die, you just don't have access to the good start of the fight where you approach the counter and you can parry three guys right off the get-go. And usually when I have my Bloody Rage and I decide to use it, you'll often see me, and I have the scythe equipped, you'll often see me switch to something else, and most likely the Lunar, because I just don't like the scythe UT. You can't build up ki well with it off of a Bloody Rage UT the way you can with other weapons, because you can't OT them fast enough, and the Lunar just works really well for it. But this is a fight where you've got archers with these enemies down here, and this is a really bad fight. So once you do clear the room and that gate lowers, you do get a checkpoint. So I don't use the checkpoint over here, but I would recommend that, if you get mauled over here and you lose a lot of health and you're not doing well, just let them kill you, because you're going to get that nice checkpoint. I think this is the first time you're introduced to mages, and what the mages do is that they go underground, and then just like those pink fiends, they come out of the ground, and they will either do that flashing red grab or not. So you've got to, time it on a dime. But I am going to try to warn you about a couple of fights coming up, because they can be quite bad, and they involve a chopper. And the chopper, the best way that a chopper fight can go is you shoot it left, right, and center, and it goes down. And what I mean by left, right, and center, you can do it right, left, and center, it doesn't matter. But left and right means that you're shooting its turrets. And the best case scenario is that shooting it in that way will make it go away, and you'll finish it off and have done with it. But I wasn't able to show it over here because I finished both of these chopper fights, and the second chopper fight is so taxing and difficult that I just took whatever I got. But I'm telling you that if the chopper doesn't go down when you do what I'm going to show over here, it can take a lot of work to do it. See, this is just ideal. Left, right, center, and then it flies away. It doesn't always do that, though. So if you're trying to do that, particularly on this next fight, and it just doesn't go away, and you have to shoot it a lot more, I realized that's a problem, and I don't understand why sometimes it does work so perfectly, and sometimes you're just shooting at it for a long time. I don't know if you do it right away. Oh, by the way, the chopper spawns in when you kill 2 enemies, and then this is going to work out good that it just goes away. So I don't know if it's when you start shooting it. I don't know if it's when it's shooting its rockets and they're near the plane, and you're shooting the turret part, and the collateral damage from the rocket being exploded near the chopper causes a lot of extra damage that speeds the whole process up. I'm not sure. Analyzing that last footage, it didn't seem like it was shooting at all. The chopper fight before this one, I started shooting it immediately, and I don't think it even had a chance to start firing its rockets. So I really am at a loss to understand the inconsistency about that. But let's face it, this is a game of inconsistencies, so you kind of have to take what you get. Now, on the Test of Valor coming up, make sure that you, because you're going to leave with full health, they're going to give you a health refill. So that's good. There's a very difficult section coming up, and this one's hard too. Anytime there's a chopper with enemies, it's very difficult. But I would caution you to not leave this Test of Valor without a full bar of ki. Just make sure that you're close to full, or you have all your health, because on those choppers you can use like the Inferno or even the Void. That will just get rid of it. But I didn't want to use Nimpo on these fights in case other people don't have it, so they don't have that fallback, and it can't help them in that way. So I chose, and I'm choosing not to use Nimpo on these encounters with the choppers, even though it could definitely speed it up and make it a lot easier. Okay, yeah, here's the despicable part. It's needlessly difficult. On the original, you didn't have other enemies to deal with on the train, but when you first get into this part, there's about 6 flyers that will spawn before the attack ninjas come, and I found that the best way to deal with it is because you're gonna have some overlap with flyers and attack ninja. So the best thing to do is to clear out the flyers as fast as possible, because you will get to a point where you've finished killing them all, and then it's just these guys. And what I like to do is use the good old meditation move to bait them into grabbing me, and then I'll go in for my Steel on Bones. There's quite a lot of these guys. And then there is going to be the chopper that comes too, and I'm actually glad this didn't go so seamlessly as the other ones did, so I can have a basis of comparison for you. Because I think on the last 2 choppers, we took it down in 3 shots, but it's not going to be the case here. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then it's not finished, and it's going to continue. So if this happens to you, it's just normal. So I had to do it like twice. And that part can be really frustrating, but it is really helpful if you need to when that chopper comes. Just have your Nimpo ready, and you can take it out with the Void or the Inferno, whatever you have on hand. And for any chopper part that you're not wanting to deal with, use the Inferno. Now for the boss though, I'm gonna let you know about my own particular feelings of this boss. First of all, it's garbage and it's not fun. And one of the most important things though is when you are facing the 2 choppers coming up, don't worry about preserving your Nimpo. If you've overbought healing items, those health upgrades, that could potentially be a problem for you, because there is one part, I think it's the final segment of the chopper fight, where it's the chopper and there's flyers constantly, and it's very difficult to deal with both at the same time. So what I would recommend is just get to that part. It doesn't matter what amount of health you get there with. It doesn't matter about your Nimpo. Just have one of your healing items ready to use, and hopefully you haven't used any. But I think in the opening to the walkthrough, I mentioned that it's going to depend on where you want to use them. So I personally save this first healing upgrade for this part that's coming up, because not much in the game is tantamount to the kind of nonsense that you'll see coming up with this chopper. Now on this is called a Grip of Murder sequence. This is the first one. It's arguably the easiest one as well. None of them are particularly difficult. I mean, maybe the last one is kind of challenging because you have some fiends. But these guys are programmed to grab all the time. So you don't even have to bait them with anything. They'll just come up to you and try to grab you. And, you know, you get a checkpoint right here, so it's all fine. I did use the Nimpo early on to clear some enemies because I knew that by the time this is finished, we're going to have so much Nimpo that it's going to be, you know, full up again. Just make sure you exit this Grip of Murder sequence with full Nimpo for the next fight. And the that chain breaking enemy in this version, it's kind of funny because it's good in the sense that, you know, with these pirates and how they break your chain like this is the only difficulty that they do it on. So if you are seeing somebody play this game and those pirates are doing that, where they're resisting your steel on bone, the person is undoubtedly playing on Ultimate Ninja. There's just no other way to say it because they don't do it on any other mode. I had to go through hard in Master Ninja to unlock this difficulty, and I can definitely say those pirates, they don't break your chain on Master Ninja. So I thought they did. I thought they might, but no, it's Ultimate Ninja exclusive. Now, unfortunately, this part over here, if you kill these 4 enemies before you save it, and then save it, these enemies keep spawning forever, so it's kind of pointless to do that. And I don't like that. I wish you could have more flexibility about, you know, doing what you want to in this game, but it's really rigid as far as that's concerned. So just come on up here now, and then this is a fight with the 2 choppers. This is just a hard setup in general because you're going to have 2 choppers that you're going to have to deal with, and there's always going to be enemies on the ground to try to, you know, make your life even more difficult. So I don't know how many enemies that you have to kill here initially, but after you kill, you know, a handful of them, the first chopper will come up. And, you know, if you want to use the Inferno here or the Void, go for it. Just remember that the Nimpo is not crucial on the upcoming parts, but I do have to caution you that the upcoming parts, they can be brutal, although they're pretty short-lived, but they really take some doing to do. So as you're going back and forth, try to wind path off the enemy's heads, and after you take the second chopper down, you know, just sever the arms of the lesser enemies, bait them into doing grabs, and then once all of the enemies are cleared, you know, if you want to siphon your key into your health, that way have some more health, you can, but just try to have at least that first healing upgrade to fall back on, because the last part with the chopper is really overkill, and it's really asking way too much. I mean, everything, you know, that's saying everything in the kitchen sink is thrown at you, it's really true. So I don't think there was one section coming up that I didn't die on. So this was a testament to editing. So if it doesn't look like I'm dying here, believe me, I died on every part. When it flies down over to where you are, all you need to do is just block and roll through it. And then you're gonna have a couple of these sections here where you're asked to interact with the cockpit over here. The first time you do it, it's right over here. You're not gonna have any flyers to deal with. So all these bullets, they're gonna guard break you. So what I would try to do is 360Y with the scythe, and then when you can't hit it anymore, that means you just need, I mean, when you can no longer hit it with the 360Y, just press Y, because it seems like everything else, see these attacks, they're just missing. So just press X or Y, and that'll actually make contact with it. And then over here, it's going to start dive bombing you. again with these missiles. So just look on the ground for the AoEs, and anytime the turrets on the plane are dark, you don't need to hit them because you're not going to damage the boss any. So you can use the slowdown if you want to, but this is also going to introduce you to the blue lasers that it uses. So it can be kind of a messy situation to have to deal with, you know, getting hit by the rockets, getting bounced, and then getting hit by the plane. You notice I have hardly any health here. But we've got full Nimpo, so we can potentially heal ourselves a little bit with the Nimpo. Don't use the Nimpo until the last part. I tried using the Void too. Oh, this is the same situation. The first time you hit it, it's going to put you into this. Just use the kunai climb to climb up it, and then press left or right when it's aiming for you. And then as you get to the top, it's going to stop. Just keep holding in the triggers. And it's going to push you away obnoxiously. Just rush up to it, block until a guard breaks you, dash into it, ignore the flyers, and then once your weapon... Did you see how my weapon recoiled off of it? That was telling me that that 360 wide needs to cease, so we just need to hit it one time. It's basically saying it's time for the quick time event. So over here you've got the flyers, and this is that hard part that I was talking about, because as long as there's a boss to kill, there's going to be lackeys to try to stop you from doing it. And when you shoot their tanks on the ground, the tank will get destroyed, but they'll still persist. And I healed myself there with the healing item. This crummy game sometimes, you know, just because I had critical damage on me before I bought the upgrade, it gave me the upgrade, but it still penalized me for having some health gone. So, yeah, I did try to use the Void. I've seen players use the Void and damage the chopper a little bit. I can never seem to damage it with it. Even the Inferno that I threw at the beginning of the fight, that was only really to kill a couple of flyers and to give me some health, give me some time to breathe, and you know, just keep aiming for their tanks. The flyers are the big problem here. See, this was never a problem on the original game, because it was always just a shitty boss that you had to take out, but there wasn't any extraneous threats. But on this game, they always throw these extraneous ambient threats to make your life harder on Ultimate Ninja, and that's all you have to do. But doing that takes a lot of doing. And on this part, just hold it in the triggers. Don't release the triggers or you'll fall off. You get a checkpoint though. All these sequences they're checkpointed. But that's a bad boss. It really is. I mean, I would be fine with it just being the shitty boss that it is, even though, you know, we always strive to have better bosses than that. But with the flyers, it just kills it. So there's my scorecard. I will. Day 2 is not done yet. We have to do Ione's Day. That will be the next video. So until I see you there, please take care.